Now, Boy Green Daily is normally every morning at 7:30, but you move heaven and earth and everything in between to bring on this guest on the program. So we've got an 8:30 edition of Boy Green Daily, and it starts now. Let's roll.
Zoinks! It is unequivocally the Super Bowl for New York Jet fans.
Field Yates, baby. Field gosh darn Yates. Let's bring him on the show.
Come on, people. Connor Rogers is joining the show. What's up, Connor? But Trevor gosh darn Sycamore, baby, for me, personally, my favorite New York Jet of all time.
Wow, it's great to be on. What an intro that was right there.
Paul, nobody does an intro like you, man.
Paul, you give the best intro of literally any podcast that I've ever seen.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas. Wow, everybody. We are blessed to be graced by this man's presence. Some people call him Matt. Most of us call him NYJ Matt. Let's just bring him in. NYJ Matt, welcome to the program, sir. Wow.
Thank you for having me. As always, the king of intros, and happy to be here, man. Crazy day yesterday, but the biggest news is that the Jets got a wide receiver too, and they're going to be really damn good. That is the news of the day.
There's no question about it that Mike Williams is a New York Jet. I had to pinch myself to make sure the last 24 hours actually happened. It felt like some sort of movie for me, and I'm not even in it. So I can only imagine what it felt like for you. And again, quick plugs here. Broadway Jets once a week, YouTube channel. There's a direct link in the YouTube description. You click the link and booyah, it teleports you right in the transfer portal, right over to the Broadway Jets YouTube channel. So make sure you guys hit the subscribe button as well on this. So let's try to unpack this story and let's try to go all the way through. First off, the genesis of the idea, Matt. Where did this come from where you said, you know what, it would be kind of funny if I send a sandwich. We were hearing all the details about visits. Okay, that visit's happening then. Okay, I'm going to send a sandwich. Where did that idea come from?
Just that. Like sitting on the couch, Mike Williams is going to fly in tomorrow morning. It'd be funny if we send a New Jersey, New York staple in a breakfast sandwich, pork roll, Taylor ham, whatever side you're on. Yep. I'm playing both sides of this. And I'm like, it's a good idea, whatever, probably nothing of it. And then, hit send and then kind of went crazy from there. And again, I talked about it. All I did was order a bagel with meat and cheese and egg on it. And it's the Jets fans that blew it up, had a great time with it. And so it's all on Jets Twitter. It's nothing that I did. It was more just a ton of fun yesterday, interacting with the account and everything going on.
Come on, don't be modest, Matt. You ordered a sandwich. Say it with a little bit more verve. That's what we're looking for, that you ordered that sandwich. And let me ask you, have you ever done this sort of thing before? Is this the first time you dipped your toe in this sandwich delivery to One Jets Drive Waters?
First time. And I order at 7:45, and I go to Morristown Bagel. And I was on the phone with the DoorDash driver, and what I needed was the photo. Like, the most important thing for me is that I didn't want people to think I was like faking it. I'm like, send a photo once you hand it to security. And I'm on the phone with her. And if you've been to One Jets Drive, you have to take a quick left to go to security. You can't keep going straight. So I'm on Google Maps. I'm like, hey, take a left here. And she's like, got it delivered, got the photo. And then it was 5 minutes went by, and the Jets main account tweeted the photo out. And then the rest is crazy. And the biggest part for me is he was supposed to go to Carolina tomorrow, Mike Williams. And the fact that that Joe Douglas and team kept him there, got the deal done, that was pretty damn cool. But it was definitely a wild 24 hours that came of it.
What was the woman's name? I think I heard that it was a woman. Yes.
Yeah. Let me get. I got to make sure I.
Okay. Yeah.
Vano.
Vano. Okay, yeah, that's what I would assume. And by the way, because this isn't dropping it off at your mom's house. Okay, just knock on the door. For One Jets Drive, because both of us were on the Die Hard, so we've both been to One Jets Drive specifically. Mm-hmm. So there's a layer of security that goes there. Was all of a sudden when you start to describe to her, because I imagine when you start talking, she's like, "Wait a second, it's not going to you, pal," and you're like, "Jeez." How did you get past that layer? Yeah,
exactly what happened. I didn't know what to do. And I was like, well, what happens is the Jets facility, and I have a friend that I played. I don't even know what I said at the time, but it was also 8 a.m. and my poor fiance is trying to sleep in the other room, and you hear me on the phone with a DoorDash driver. And she's like, "What are you ordering? Like what? Like we have a sandwich place in walking distance. What are you DoorDashing?" And I'm like, "Long story. I'll tell you about it later." But yeah, no, it was tough to explain what she had to do to go drop it off.
And what was the specific order?
Your basic pork roll, Taylor ham, egg and cheese sandwich on a bagel, salt, pepper, ketchup. That was the other thing that if I definitively called it pork roll or Taylor ham, I would have pissed off 50% of people. You see the polls that go up there?
I did, 50,
yeah. 50 split like almost every time. So I kept it generic. I got a few DMs where it's like, "Hey, we appreciate what you did, but you have to call it Taylor ham or pork roll." And again, I was like, I'm on the middle. I'm going to call it both things to make everybody happy.
Okay, wow. Yeah, because I feel like this is a thing for you guys that are all local there. For me, I'm way back in New York over here, so I don't get the whole thing, but I just know it's a thing. That's all I know about it. So did you think when you did the joke, did you think that the Jets would respond, or did you think it was just going to be a funny thing between you and some of local Jets Twitter? Ha, ha, ha. He sent the sandwich, and if it happens, something, something, something. Did you think the actual Jets account was going to interact with it?
I think the current following that I have and that current Jets fans are about when the first tweet went out that night before, where I'm like, "Hey, I'm going to order it tomorrow," got like 1,000 likes. So right there, you're kind of building traction for it. And then I was like, if they end up actually getting the bag, which is a big if, you have security, you have everything we talked about. I was like, maybe it's a coin flip because I interact with the Jets account a handful of times, and I love the guys over there and what they do, the guys and girls that run that account. And I thought it was a coin flip. But then if you told me if the main account tweeted out, then they would keep tweeting about it and then change their profile picture to a breakfast sandwich. I don't think that was in the cards, but I did think there's a possibility that they would tweet it out in the morning.
Yeah, here's a couple. Here's the screenshot, everybody, on your screen of the actual order. And then you saying Mike Williams breakfast sandwich is on its way. Let me know when it gets there or when it arrives, officially tagging the New York Jets. And you said how long after? So like it ended up being the next day, I suppose, or later. How long until you got the Jets response?
So I was going to order it. He was supposed to fly in Monday night. It changed. I did Tuesday morning. And then the moment I got off the phone with the DoorDash driver, like 5 minutes later, the Jets tweeted it out. So I don't know when Mike Williams went there. If he was there at 9 a.m., he would have had the fresh sandwich. It appears he ate it much later in the day.
Yes.
But again, the whole thing is just like, that's why Jets Twitter, I think, is above all their fan base. Not in terms of, I won't call any fan base out as like passion, but the fact that we're able to take a minor thing like this and we're all able to rally around and be psychopaths for 24 hours, like you don't see that anywhere else. So that was the fun part, I would say, out of everything that was going down.
Yeah, here is the picture from the Jets. And you can, if you scroll in there, you can see NYJ Matt on there. So that was the actual picture that took place as we were going through this process. When did you know it was going to blow up? Was it when the Jets account blew up? You're like, okay, now we're going somewhere? Or did you have some sense kind of before? Because you mentioned you had a lot of traction with a bunch of likes, but, like when did you know, like, oh, this is a different level than some of the stuff I've done?
It was that one. Then ESPN Radio, Barton Hahn had it.
Yeah.
Evan and Tiki had it. But then the whole thing, it would have been terrible for the Jets if Mike Williams didn't sign. But could you imagine though, like it would be like funny hate, like the sandwich wasn't good enough. You picked the wrong one. You should have went bacon egg. Like that would
have been the cupcakes thing for Dante Hightower, right? Yeah,
exactly. So there's a plan. There's a way that it blows up in our face. But then once he signed and they said, we're going to need a fresh sandwich, that was when it really started taking off. And I had, at that time, a fantasy baseball draft coming up, had like a 6-pack down. And I'm looking at this whole, like the notifications go, and it was crazy. But yeah, that was probably, once he signed, it hit a different level, I would say.
Let me ask you this. First off, this is just a pinnacle moment in Jets Twitter history. Have you embraced that? I mean, obviously you have, because it's now in your Twitter bio. That's when you know it's kind of official for old NYJ Matt there. It's in the bio. Did you realize in the moment, or now, like I said, some 24, 36 hours later, that this is a pinnacle moment in Jets Twitter history?
It's very fun. I have done minor things in the past that didn't blow up as much. Like the Adam Gase to Lincoln High School is a very fun moment. I've tried to keep it light, keep it fun on Twitter with memes and some videos. But at the end of the day, I just want to be known for just being like a normal, fun Jets fan. I would do the same thing if I had one follower. I'd love talking about the Jets with NYJ Mike, who is my best friend and really partner in everything that I do. And it's one of these moments that in like 10 years from now, hopefully the Jets rack up 2-3 Super Bowls in that 10-year window. You could look back at this moment and be like, remember when Mike Williams signed over a sandwich? Again, I don't think he actually signed because of the sandwich. I think
this is what the deal got signed, Matt. He said it.
That quote, like I almost fell out of my chair. I was like, damn, that was a cool moment. But going into it, Paul, to be very transparent, I thought it was a 0.1% chance that's going to make an impact. And the reason I say 0.1 is he might see that, or someone jokes around about it. He's like, wow, Jets fans are psychopaths. And that if we win here, they're selling sandwiches. So like that's where that 0.1% came in. And then Mike and people were like, no, you're making a 10% impact here. And I'm like, that feels way too high. And again, the money, everything, it's going to play out the way it's supposed to. So I don't think the sandwich itself truly impacted his decision. I think you'd be like a real narcissist in my shoes to be like, hey, I got Mike Williams, because 100%, I think there is maybe now I'll move it from 0.1 to 1% impact on the signing. I'll give myself
that's a dramatic increase.
It's a big jump, but no, I think Mike is the one that keeps telling me, he's like, dude, he's like trying to hype it up. I'm like, all right, I'm trying to be rational here. So
yeah. And again, that this is the Jets profile picture. This is it. Mike Williams said, now, I've heard a little bit about this, Matt. I'm not sure if you commented on this portion of the equation yet, because I heard you on Broadway Jets. You guys had a 30-minute episode out yesterday. And that 30-minute episode, some of the story was still untold. You said something that was going to kind of seal the deal was if Mike Williams, there was a picture of him with a sandwich. We'll put that up in just a second. But like, this is the Jets official profile picture right now. But real quick, a lot of people have questioned the bite size. Do you have any thoughts on that? It looks like a rabbit may have taken a notch out of this thing. What? Any reaction to that?
Yeah, I'm guessing the Jets social media team was like, "Hey, it'd be pretty funny if you take a bite out of it." And he probably, I don't know if he was hungry at the time or whatever. He was probably did something quick, and he liked it, which is a good thing. But dude, the final end to the story that I wanted, because it was 99% awesome. The 1% was like, if they have a photo of him biting it, it'd be hilarious, and that would be the all-time ending. And not only do they do that, they have a video of him doing it, and then they have a profile picture change. So it was a great ending to a ridiculous story that was developing throughout the day.
Yeah, here is the picture for those who mixed it. That is him taking a big old bite out of that sandwich. So Mike Williams taking the bite of the sandwich. That's also where I want to go, here with you, Matt. And you've been humble throughout this thing. I know literally it's you ordering a sandwich, but everything that it kind of turned into is much bigger than just ordering a sandwich. But I thought it was kind of cool because, like, someone in your position that's getting lit up the way you are, and we'll kind of dive into a little bit of that as well. But the way that people are blowing you up with new followers and opportunities, I'm sure, and all these kind of things. This is the tweet you sent. It is Breaking Bad, old Heisenberg here, of "we won." It wasn't "I won." That seems like that was something on purpose throughout our conversation here, of you making that a point, that it was us. It wasn't just you somehow.
Yeah, the original meme of him doing it is "I won," and I recreated it. I took a screenshot of the actual clip on YouTube and did it again, because that's what it is. If I tweet that out and it gets 0 likes or 1 comment, right, it just doesn't have like a whole fun thing about it. So it's 100% a Jets Twitter effort, and it's a great, and you probably feel the same way. Jets Twitter and like the YouTube that we do and have a good time with it. It's a very good break from reality, right? If you kind of take a step back, you're like, I can talk about my favorite football team. And 10 years ago, I was at Jet games, and it would be me and Mike FaceTiming after every game. And now it's like, oh, I can tweet my thoughts to more people and kind of change some perspectives, because I do lean more positive. You are probably the most positive. There's a spectrum of like favorite fan races. You're on the far optimist side, which is great. We need more of that. But me and Mike usually lean more optimistic. And it wasn't a fun first few days of free agency, and then everything kind of flipped. Right. But long story short, it's Jets Twitter making it what it was. Definitely, I didn't really do anything but tweet out a photo.
And let me address this, Matt. We talked a little bit about it off air, and this is, I'm sure, I don't want to say a majority of your DMs, but a lot of DMs and comments are like, okay, you've hit one out of the ballpark. slap you on the cheeks, Matt. Let's get back to the plate. Let's hit another Homer Simpson here. You have now become the sandwich enthusiast, and you must start delivering sandwich apparently, and throw away your entire life to deliver sandwich to free agents that arrive at the Jets. Is Jadeveon Clowney is there today? Is this your story? Will you continue to deliver sandwiches? The fans and the people want to know.
I get why it is a good question. I think you let it sit. It was a good ride, right? There's times where you don't need a sequel. I always refer to True Detective Season 1. Like, True Detective Season 1 is perfect. Don't change it. Now, in 5 years from now, if the Jets are bringing in Justin Jefferson for a free agent signing, say like 5 years from now, something happens, maybe we bring it back, right? Maybe there's a part 2. Right. But the day after, I think you got to let it sit, let it breathe. It had its moment. We had a very fun time with it. And we'll take the win as is. Now, if people want to send it, that they definitely can. I will take myself out of it. And the interesting thing, Paul, is that the Jets tweeting that photo out, like, more Jet fans are probably going to DoorDash food to Florham Park because of this. And they're probably going to be annoyed at some point if they keep getting food ordered and security. But yeah, I'm not going to run it back today. We're going to let this one be.
Okay, and you have no qualms, by the way, with all these other people. I've already seen it on Twitter. All these other people are attempting to do some riff off of what you're doing by either sending this, that, or the other. You have no issue with people also swimming in your waters.
It's all fun. No, it doesn't matter to me. You know, the only thing that bothers me is if I make a video, like one of the like Key and Peele year-end videos, and someone screen records it and just posts it themselves. In that, I'm like, hey man, maybe just hit me with a retweet and we'll call it even. But no, I'd never complain about people kind of picking up what we're doing. It's not a new thing. I guess maybe in the NFL terms, DoorDashing a breakfast sandwich to a player might be a new thing. But if it becomes a thing because of it, I wouldn't be offended at all.
Yeah, and that's got to be another cool factor, I imagine, is all the Jets players that got involved. You mentioned the Key and Peele videos. Those are some of the coolest. And we have Ashton Davis and Sauce Gardner going at each other, and it's fun. And then we have everyone else getting involved. On this sandwich, I'm probably going to miss some, but Michael Carter II, Sauce Gardner with the suit and tie, Mike Williams behind. Like, man, there was a lot of players. Was there an interaction that stood out either from a Jets player or somebody else?
I got some interesting DMs from people that, like Vinny Pasquantino, like the first baseman for the Royals, like I think he's like a Long Island guy. Like Vinny Pasquantino DMs me. The guy from Firefest, Billy McFarland, that documentary, the guy that stole, like, he just followed me on Twitter. Like some weird outside of the box ones came out of it. But no, like Gary V comment meant, like, I love Gary V. He's a great dude. Him getting it going. And then my favorite one is Mike Williams posting it on his Instagram story, where he posted the video and said, shout out Matt. And I saw that from your Twitter, by the way. I go through the algorithm, picks up your tweets a lot. And I was like, I had no idea that even happened. So thank you for alluding me to that one. But no, it was a good day. We had a lot of fun.
And he was the day was crazy. Mike Williams went to a Brooklyn Nets game. He still had the sandwich. What the hell? He had the sandwich, and then I saw the video this morning. Was that you? You were off camera. Was another sandwich delivered by you in person at the Brooklyn Nets game last night?
I think the Nets probably saw the traction. They're like, we're going to hop on this bandwagon and order him a sandwich, which is still amazing. Like the fact that there's a photo of him sitting courtside. The story will change from 5 years from now. Maybe in a decade, people are going to be like, that was the same bag. He kept bringing with them through and through. But like athlete logos made a merch drop of like the logo.
Unbelievable.
They DM
it looks
me like,
so cool.
They're like, do you mind? I'm like, dude, do whatever you want with it. And they're like, we'll give you a cut. I'm like, fine by me. Like, that's fine. Just, I like that.
So what was the negotiation? Because it looks pretty cool. And boy, they turned that thing around pretty quick. I guess that's a business, baby. But what was the negotiations like between you and the merch company?
They DM me and said, can we use the logo? I said, of course. They're like, do you want a cut of it? We'll give you X%. I'm like, perfect. And that was the entire thing. I'm the worst negotiator ever. I was like, they're like, we'll Venmo. I'm like, yeah, whatever's good, man. And they're like, we'll send you a shirt. I'm like, perfect. I love it. And they were like, they probably were surprised that I was so do what you want with it, man. Doesn't matter.
And by the way, what a silly question. Do you want to profit from this? Sure. Yeah. I'd love to. But what do you mean? Of course. All right. Hire me immediately as your agent. I'm going to be that pit bull in there. I'm going to get you some more action. We're going to get some of that happening. There's no question about it. Again, we have NYJ Matt here. We already knew he was a legend and a Hall of Famer and all of those things, Twitter diehards and all that jazz. But I mean, it just solidified his place. You are an immortal. We are not worthy. but we appreciate the fact that you continue to grace us with your presence and your YouTube show, Broadway Jets, and everything else. It's pretty cool. Let me ask you this, Matt. So, okay, I'm not doing the sandwich thing. You announced to the people. Hopefully, this makes it very clear. But the adrenaline rush, you got to be honest with me. Do you have any notes, ideas in the back saying, "Well, this sandwich thing worked out. I got a couple of things in the hopper that, if the right situation presents itself," because I have to imagine. I've never had that sort of blow up before. Like, that's crazy. ESPN, Sports Center, Jets, all that, all of it together. I got to imagine there was an adrenaline rush there. And we crave adrenaline rushes as human beings. Some people get it off a roller coaster. Some people get it off apparently sending a sandwich to a professional NFL organization that goes viral. So is there an adrenaline rush there to do it? I'm not asking you about the sandwich thing again for Clowney, but ideas percolating for the future of a different opportunity.
Yeah, it usually comes pretty organic. I feel like my best moments are ones where I'm sitting on the couch. I'm like, oh, but that'd be kind of a funny, unique idea. Let's do it. So it definitely depends, I would say, on the day. But my whole thing, again, I like doing some fun moments like this. But at the end of the day, I would rather have 0 followers and the Jets win 10 games this year than have a good amount of followers and the Jets go 7-10. Like, that's how I view it. I really only care about the Jets winning football games. And when you get a 6'4", 220-pound wide receiver 2 for your Hall of Fame quarterback, like, everything just changes. It is a great feeling, and that can't get lost in the day of we got so much better as a football team, and that is going to be really damn fun. That'll be good.
Yeah, and I am going to get to you some actual Jets questions in here, Matt, as well. But I mean, this was just this is spectacular, and I just have to say this: that one Jets Drive episode, that's going to hit different, Matt. Come on.
That'd be fun.
Is that happening? Seth Bradley, are you out there listening? Caw. Man, Twitter diehards, the sequel. I know, the sandwich sequel, like, hey, people, that's not right. I feel like a Twitter diehard sequel has to happen here because, Matt, I don't know if you realize this. Apparently you don't. Everyone is going to think, I think I saw this from Matt O'Leary. Everyone's going to say, where were you when that sandwich happened? And it's going to be, I think, a part of that documentary. So 1JD, the bat signals out. I think that episode's going to hit different, Matt. I think that episode's going to hit different.
I love it. Yeah, we did the diehards. That was like insane that they mic you up. They treat you like you're a star, and you're just like, I just tweet about the Jets. No, that was a very fun day. I definitely am going to be I don't know if you go to training camp. I do training camp at least one time per year. I can't wait just to get back up there. August is coming. July is where, like, mini camp. So ready to go. Only a couple more months. You got the draft in there, and this is the fun period. The February to March 15th is like such a dry spell in football, and we finally made it through, and free agency was fun. So,
by the way, what's the official name for this? Are we Sandwich Gate? Is that official? Have you trademarked that? Is that what we're talking?
Mike likes Sandwich Gate, so that's what we're going with. We'll call it Sandwich Gate.
Okay, let's get some Jets in here.
Yeah.
Mike Williams is a friggin' New York Jet, and there's been a lot of speculation this offseason on who that other wide receiver, who could be the Robin, and that almost sounds like a disservice to Mike Williams. But who is the Robin to Garrett Wilson's Batman and Devontae Adams? All these crazy names. Mike Williams as a proven Robin to Garrett Wilson's Batman. That sounds like a dynamic 1-2 punch, and finally someone that can draw some attention away from Garrett Wilson.
It's an unbelievable signing. It's the perfect fit, the perfect comp, 6'4", 220, red zone target, fast. Year 7, I think, coming up in the NFL, right? Yeah. So a good veteran, too, for your locker room and for Garrett Wilson. I look at the Jets offseason, though, as, like, are you a Joe Douglas supporter?
I am. Yeah, okay. I know a lot of people aren't. I lean more towards Joe Douglas support than hate.
So I was and am. And when 2023 happened, they traded for Rodgers. I literally was like, I don't care what he does again. He owns all my respect. And then everything they did post Rodgers trade last year backfired on them. Every single move they did. And that was frustrating. The backup quarterback, Paul, in my opinion, is like the biggest mistake any GM's made here in 15 years. Because I do think if you have a normal backup quarterback, you're a playoff team. So throw that aside. We're in 2024 now. Again, I'm a Joe Douglas supporter. 2022 draft. He builds a team the right way. I get it. But when are the wins coming? And day one, day two was terrifying to be a Jet fan in free agency because you're thinking, is he going to do it again? And I kept saying, as long as he gets 3 offensive linemen and 1 receiver, it will be a great, great offseason if they get the right ones. And they got the best left tackle. They made a move to get a right tackle that I didn't even know was going to be available.
Me,
They got
savvy as hell.
The best receiver available, and then a young guard that can continue momentum from his 2023 campaign. So he did everything. And the most important thing as a sports fan is that the GM builds the team the way you want it. If it fails, he might still get fired, but it'd be very hypocritical for me all year to be like, can't believe Joe Douglas made the move for Mike Williams. Why did he get Tyrod Taylor as a backup quarterback? He did everything I wanted. So he has my full respect for 2024. If it fails and backfires, he's probably going to get fired. But at that point, I'll say, hey, he did what I wanted him to do. And that's all you can ask for as a Jet fan. So a hell of an offseason from Joe Douglas. And 5 days ago, it didn't look like it was going to be a big home run offseason. And he changed the tide pretty quickly.
Again, Matt, thank you for your service. You will be forever connected to Mike Williams. I can't wait till the Jets send you that autographed Mike Williams jersey to your house. That should be, one more on that before we get into the rest of the Jets. Do you have any request of the Jets after all of this? I mean, you delivered Mike Williams on a silver platter to the great New York Jets organization. Have you said, hey, upgrade my season tickets? I saw that was floating out there. Hey, the Mike Williams autographed jersey. Hey, some stock in Mike Williams' future contracts. Like, what are the demands of Matt moving forward?
So I do already have season tickets. I've had them for 6 years now. Mike and I have them. Section 309. We love having them already paid for. So that's out of the question. I asked for nothing in return. I asked to keep having fun on social media. I don't need anything back from it. I did get a DM from one of the people that kind of run their social, and he was like, hey, we got to send you something, man. Like, today was so much fun. A lot of interactions. Like, they had a ton of tweets go over 1 million impressions. Wow. I had a few. So I was like, of course we can link up and figure it out, but nothing is going to be asked of me. I'm not one of the, hey, we went viral. Like, what can I get out of it? My whole thing is, again, coming on here to talk about the Jets. And if growth comes from Twitter and YouTube because of it, that's awesome. But like I told you, I'd be doing it if we had 1 follower. Like, it's just talking Jets is what we want to do.
2-part question here, again, because we're back in these waters. Quick question. What does a Woody Johnson collab look like? And what's happening there?
I tried to strike while the iron was hot there. To be I'm like, people are talking about it. I'm not going to ask for a lot, but hey, at Woody Johnson, let's collab. What that looks like, I have no idea. I don't even know what collab means. TikTok people will say it.
I don't know.
What would be very fun, though, is if at training camp, dap up Woody Johnson, talk to him a little bit. If he wants like a director of fan engagement, of the liaison between the Jets and the fan base, I don't know if that's a real position, but I'll make it one. I just try to keep again. I kept trying to keep it going. Woody Johnson obviously probably heard a little bit of rumblings about it, so I said if I could throw that tweet out there, maybe something comes of it. Didn't happen, but we'll see. I don't know.
Okay, I like that.
The other thing about Woody Johnson, he gets a lot of shit too.
Yeah.
I wanted Joe Douglas the GM, and him and his brother got him. I wanted Robert Saleh the head coach. They got him. I wanted them to trade for Aaron Rodgers. They did it. So Woody does deserve crap for maybe not giving more cash to restructure deals, if that rumor is true. Some of the like optics of what Woody does, he kind of says like insane things sometimes, but I do support what he does for the Jets a lot. So I do think he's sometimes a little bit overhated. He's not like the worst owner in the NFL, as some Jet fans make it feel.
Right. Definitely not. Okay, let's get back to some Jets talk. Pick number 10 overall. There was 2 clear needs for the New York Jets heading into the offseason. Offensive line, just as a whole, they had 2 holes to fill plus the Lakin one that they created, so 3. And I'm like, oh boy, it's a lot to put on your docket after 5 years of trying to put together a line. Now we're going to have to put together 60% of it in the next couple weeks here. Good luck, pal. And credit to Joe Douglas. He did it within the first week of free agency. And then wide receiver, again, Matt delivering us friggin' Mike Williams, baby. So now we have 10th overall. If it's up to you here on March 20th, as this is live at 9 in the morning, what is the pick at pick 10?
I flip-flop, to be very honest, about wide receiver and tackle. Now, Brock Bowers would be an awesome pick. I look at Aaron Rodgers' production with tight ends in his career, and it doesn't move the needle to the point that I think the Jets need to draft Brock Bowers. Now, if they do, a weapon, your offense becomes amazing. I like the move, but I would rather go tackle or wide receiver. And I look at it as if you go receiver, it's more of a short-term win. You can get Rome, you can get Neighbors if he falls. You can even try to trade up for Neighbors or Marvin Harrison Jr. if you want, which I do think is in the cards. People talk trading down. I think I can see Joe Douglas saying, screw a 3 this year and a future 2. I'm going to get my guy and win now, which I would be a big fan of. But a receiver is more short-term win now. You now have a third receiver to put on the field. You don't have to start Allen Lazard or Gibson. That's more short-term. When I say long-term tackle, that long-term might come to like week 8 where you need a tackle to play if Tyron Smith or Morgan Moses gets hurt. So I say long-term, not as in like, yeah, it does help if you can draft a tackle that will be here 5 years from now. But I think Tyron Smith's going to stay healthy. Like, it's a weird if to say. People are like, he's always hurt. He played 13 games last year. And I get he's injury prone and Morgan Moses is older. I guess if you're telling me right now what you want the Jets to do, if Malik Neighbors or Marvin Harrison Jr. are somehow fall to 5 because 4 quarterbacks go, I'm trading a current 3 and a future 2, and I'm winning a Super Bowl. Like, I'm literally just going to get these insane receivers because I don't love the idea of Max Mitchell starting or Carter Warren starting, but do I hate the idea that they're a tackle 4, tackle 5 in your depth chart if you get David Bakhtiari as like a backup? Like, I do think there's depth there where you can survive if they miss a couple of games. And what I don't want to happen is everyone stays healthy and you draft a tackle at 10 and there's nowhere to put them. Like, that could happen theoretically. I would never shit on anyone that wants to take a tackle. If you want to tackle at 10, I'm with you, and I might be with you an hour from now. Right now, I lean receiver just for the short-term aspect of what I think it can do for the team. So it's kind of like a flippy-flop answer.
No, I love it. I'm kind of swimming in some of the same water. Shout out to NY Jet Situation Report, Matt. Just one word, legendary man. Again, TEC FTW for the win. We appreciate you. Thank you, Situation Report, for the super chat. We appreciate that as well. I'm going to be honest. I'm on the trade up train. I'm with you on the middle to second half of that answer. Like, let's get froggy and let's get aggressive and let's move up. I love Marvin Harrison Jr. There's a lot of nice words said about my Lake Neighbors. Sure, let's friggin' go, baby. Let me ask you this. So you said the 3rd and the 2. I'm with that package because Daniel Jeremiah, he said the 2025 2 to move up. Maybe that's enough. Maybe that's not enough. You throw in the 3rd. I was asked this by Jake Ashton yesterday when I joined his live stream after all the Mike Williams stuff. He asked me if I'd be willing to do a first next year. And I walked through the quarterback thing of like, I want the backdoor plan just in case all hell breaks loose. We still have that. But then I'm like, you know what? F it. Let's go. I'm positive about this season. This is a great team, great roster. F it. I would be willing to give it up. Would you be willing to give up if it went to those lengths, 5th overall, 4th overall, let's say, the 1st round pick in 2025 to go get one of Neighbors or Harrison Jr.?
I personally would do it for Marvin Harrison Jr. I know there's a trend right now of Malik Neighbors being ranked higher than him, which is fine. That's all good. But if you pair Marvin Harrison with his college alumni partner and Garrett Wilson, right? I really think that tandem you're looking at like 5 years from now being still successful. Now, will Mike Williams be here in 5 years? No, right? But if you have those 3 in the field short term, I would consider giving up a 1. And that 1 you're hoping is the 28th to 32nd 1 in next year's draft.
Exactly.
Like, you're hoping that you're a great team. I don't think Jeremiah's 2nd round pick is enough at all. When I saw that, I was shocked. I don't think you can move up 5 spots in the current draft for a future 2. Again, a Jets team that you're hoping wins 12 plus games in the long term, right? If you count playoffs. So I don't know how it would only be a 2. I think you'd have to give up a current 3 and a 2 to make that move. If it's a future 1, you'd only give the 1, and you'd actually want a pick back. Like, if we're giving up 10 and a future 1, I want the Chargers to give us their 1 and like a current 3 or 4 so that we can build some capital. But there's not a lot of holes in the current Jets. Depth could be a problem, but there's not a lot of starting holes. You need 22 players to play football and start for your team. 11 on both sides. I'd argue the Jets feel pretty confident in like 19 out of 22 right now. Like, get some interior line depth, get some linebacker depth, get a tackle depth, get a second running back. Like, what else do you need to do? So I'm fine with moving capital and going for it. And the other thing, that quarterback movement is so easy now. It's so weird that quarterbacks can just, like Kirk Cousins, go to Atlanta. So I know the idea of wanting to draft a young quarterback. They're probably going to draft one on day 3. But quarterbacks move so often now. I'm ready to be aggressive for a team that hasn't made the playoffs in 13 years and just go crazy. And I don't care about a future one, which is probably very short-sighted, but that's how it is.
Exactly. I'm in the same. Like, let's make it happen. Which takes us to our final question here, man. And appreciate you hopping on this morning. And it's that roster. I feel like, man, this is one of the best Jets rosters we've had heading into a season in a long time. I mean, you could go back to, I guess, those AFC Championship years, because 2015 we weren't expecting that, and then it happened. But the 2009, 2010 seasons, or even going back to some of those other, the Brett Favre team was super talented in 2008. So where does this rank? And are you with me, baby? The expectation is Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers, this defense, this team, you got a freaking chance to not just make the playoffs so great we ended the playoff drought. Screw that, baby. I'm going for chips. I'm going for a ring on the finger, baby. That's what I'm talking about. You with me?
I am. And it really felt like 2023 when they make the Rodgers trade and they didn't make more aggressive moves after that.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're stacking up for 2024. What I think that they wanted the 2023 Jets to be a wild card team, maybe make the divisional round, but go all in 2024, right? I think that's honestly the path that the Jets were considering. And now we're here in 2024 and they've been aggressive, right? The one thing that I get nervous about isn't the health, because you can't control that. You really can't. At the end of the day, injuries are the worst thing about professional sports by far. You can put together a perfect team and then it can fall apart because of one injury. Take injuries out of it. My biggest concern is the coaching staff. I think there's a lack of accountability. There's weird stuff going on. Taking cell phones is stupid. Not having offensive game plans is stupid. Having an offensive line coach that every veteran offensive lineman doesn't like. When you start looking at the coaching staff, I am a little bit concerned. And I do think Saleh regressed in his game management last year. I think in 2021, 2022, if I want him to call a timeout, he usually did it. If I want him to go for it, he usually did it. So I can't fight that. He was brutal in 2023 game management. He regressed in his year 3 of coaching. So you can put the players in the field. Joe Douglas did that. Now they have to stay healthy and the coaches have to coach them. If it all hits, Paul, they're a top 3 roster in the NFL. I truly believe that. I think they're a top 3 roster. They have a top 3 defense, and now you can make the argument when healthy, a top 7 offense. You put it together. I don't know how many people can beat them.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And to your point, this heightened focus of Aaron Rodgers playing, being healthy, which we can't control. But if he's healthy and everyone else is what they are, the Jets are going to be in closer games. That's going to put a big, fat magnifying glass on Robert Saleh and the coaching decisions, and all the primetime games, those are coming in May. The Jets are getting that maximum for the Aaron Rodgers return. So he's going to be, Robert Saleh, in the spotlight literally for primetime, but also in these critical moments of those decisions are going to be more heightened than they were in a 13-8 Falcons loss. For some of those decisions, it's going to be big. And I have no choice but to believe, because you're right, that there were some horrible decisions last year, but I have no choice but to buy in and believe and hope that he will just do better with, better situations around him. That's the hope. That's a prayer, buddy. So, Matt, let's wrap up with this, and that is it. You have any big interviews coming? I know we have on the Jets circuit. You're going to be going to a couple places. Set us up for that. But also, after this splash, you going on Sports Center, ESPN? Where the hell are you going? Where are you going beyond Jets Inner Circle, Jets Twitter world, Jets YouTube world?
In a perfect world, I'm done talking breakfast sandwiches by noon today, and I'm down to Atlantic City and gambling a little bit and having a good time. Right, that's Beautiful. My plan. But no, the Jake Asman show, Jets Talk 24/7 with Ryan. WFAN has been great. I've been on WFAN a bunch when they let me call in, and we like Adam Gase rumors and stuff. They talked a lot about it today. Sean Morash we were talking a little bit on Twitter replies, and he was having fun with it on the air. So if they asked me to come on, I'd be more than happy to jump on the fan. But yeah, I have a morning of talking about Jets football, and then hopefully from here we start moving forward to bigger and better things, and the NFL draft being one of them.
Well, Matt, thank you for your service. 0.1%, 1%, 100%, 1,000%. A lot of us feel like that was the deciding factor. Regardless, man, thank you, man, for your social. And hopefully you can see the chat. There's hundreds of people that are just saying thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All these things in here, and for good reason, man. And we love having you a part of it. When we see you blowing up, we're like, holy crap, there's Jets Twitter, baby. Your success is our success. We're just losing it. We're like, yes, baby, yeah, look at that guy. So it's freaking cool, man. So I just got to tell you, it's awesome.
Yeah, and thanks for having me on. And thanks for bringing some positivity. You probably saw one of my tweets. I love like the front line you have on your tweets when something crazy happens. And I'm like,
Yeah.
one time I want you to be like, holy shit, right? Like
And I give it to you, Mike
I
Williams.
no, yeah. So I appreciate that you bring a lot of positivity. I think your crew that watches you, same thing. They feed off it, and it's not fun to be negative all the time. There's definitely times to be negative, but
Mhm.
I think it's fun to have a fan base that if you're like in third grade and you're picking a sports team in New York City right now, I think you're picking the Jets over the Giants. I think a lot of that has to do with what you bring, what a lot of the creators bring. So hopefully we get a bigger fan base because of it.
Again, NYJ Matt, Broadway Jets. That is his YouTube channel where you can catch all his funny, crazy crap. And the production value I heard is only going up from here. So that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So again, a direct link to the YouTube channel is down below. Matt, thanks for joining us, brother.
Thank you, man. Have a good one.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 7:30. Take care.